It's Checkpoint on ENCA and ETV. I'm Nkepile Mabuse. Life and death policies are the focus this week.
I believe this is a big syndicate that has somebody that's working for SASSA and then somebody working for One Life.
For nearly 4 years, deductions for a funeral policy she'd never signed up for were made from her state-sponsored pension by a well-known insurance company. And later, another trusted insurer dumps clients who'd taken up policies worth millions.
If you wanted cover, buy an umbrella. It's safer than PMD or Constantia.
Your Checkpoint half hour starts now. Changing lives is the sales pitch that One Life Insurance uses to market its products. The company employs brokers to sell its policies. Some brokers outsource this function to marketing companies. One of these marketing companies is accused of hiring a rogue agent who signed up clients without their knowledge. It took nearly 4 years for pensioner Victoria Mfana to discover who was behind the illegal deductions made from her government grant. She spoke to Checkpoint's Tsogofatso Magolego and Ashley Market about how One Life changed her life for the worse. Victoria Mfana is a social grant beneficiary. Her entire household of 4 relies on her 1,860 Rand monthly state pension. In August 2016, she became aware of unapproved deductions from her already insufficient government grant.
Then it happened ukuthi mangabe lesikhathi sisahola kuma offices ngafuna ukwazi ukuthi yindaba eyami imali ingapheleli. Base bangicheckela emshinini. Mabeveza emshinini bafuna laphana kulamaphepha wakhona kwaphuma ukuthi iAll Life yiyo ethatha imali yami.
Mfana was told that an amount of 120 Rand was being debited for a funeral plan that she'd taken out with One Life.
Ngase ngibuza ukuthi kuza kanjani ngoba zange ngijoin base bathi angihambe ngiyocomplaina eSASSA. Base bathi eSASSA sizoyivala ukuthi bangasayi withdraw imali yakho. Kodwa le abayithathile sizozama ukuthi ke sifune ukuthi iphinde ibuye back imali yakho. Hayi ngahlala. Ngilinde ukuthi izovala imali. Thola ukuthi no. Imali lokuyachubeka. Isadonswa yakavaleki.
120 Rand monthly may be a minuscule amount to many, but it goes a long way in her household, she says.
La endlini imali kaSASSA ingisiza ngako konke. Number 1, funeka ngibhadala ama services. Funeka ngitry ukuthi ngithenga ukudla, ngidle nabantwana bami. Angisafinyeleli ke kwezinye izinto ofuna ukuthi ngizenze ngoba seyaphela leyo mali.
Mfana's daughter, Musambewe, believes it's a racket targeted at the elderly.
I believe this is a big syndicate that has somebody that's working for SASSA and then somebody working for One Life. It doesn't sit well with me, and I think it has to be stopped and it must be exposed because these are big companies which are making so much money and they should be at least handling this with some integrity.
Mbewe wasn't going to take this lying down. She requested documentary proof that her mother had indeed signed up for the funeral policy with One Life.
There's a lot of things. You don't even need to be a rocket scientist to pick it up. When you look at an application on itself, there's so many alterations. There are things that are T-Pexed out. You can see that there's some stuff that was T-Pexed out. That was number 1, first thing that I saw. Those 2 pages have got 3 signatures, which I know they are not my mom's signatures. And why I say that, because I've been with my mom in so many places where she has to sign, and she will sign her name and her surname. I though did see that the name has been written like her handwriting. But those 3 different signatures in that one form are different.
According to this partially filled out One Life application form, Mfana's elected beneficiary is this illegible name, which One Life claims belongs to one of Mfana's daughters. Blatant fraud, says Mfana.
Bonke labantu abalapha ngaphakathi angibazi abasayine lapho kulawo mafomu.
Now, who will have a funeral cover and omit the most important information of the funeral cover, which is the beneficiary, to not have an ID number at least of that person to claim that money? The place is blank. There is no ID number provided for a beneficiary. That's number 1. 2, there is a name of a person we do not know, which is named a daughter. And we only 2 daughters. All my mom's children are alive. It's my sister. And my sister was born 1975. That person we don't know was born 1971. And then the other thing I picked up, there is an alteration also on that beneficiary space where you don't know, it's like they wrote over it.
While trying to probe further, Mbewe says she was treated appallingly.
You know, most Facebook will always show like One Life advertises this. And you know what I did? I went to the comments and I typed them like, you guys are so wicked. You're stealing from the elderly people and things like that. You know what they did? They blocked me on that one. And then another one came also with the One Life and I did the same thing. It was also very difficult because at some point I will write to them and they'll keep quiet. I'm like, okay, you said you were investigating. You said you're going to come back to me in about in 9 hours. It's more than 24 hours. No one is coming back to me.
On the 5th of May this year, Mbewe got a response via email from One Life requesting that she provide them with a SAPS stamped affidavit so they could investigate.
So my mom is supposed to stand up during the lockdown to go and get an affidavit done for One Life to prove to them that an obvious fraudulent application form is wrong. And I said, no ways.
Mbewe reported the matter to the Ombudsman for Long-Term Insurance. She was assured her matter would be looked into. She also opened a case of fraud at Moroka Police Station.
And for them to treat it as casual as it is, like, so what, it's just another case. I don't think you take your customers serious. I don't think you actually even respect the elders. I actually even doubt if you've got parents. I don't even think you know what poverty is, on a very serious note.
After multiple attempts at getting a report back from One Life, Mbewe received this email stating that the insurance company had cancelled Mfana's policy and was ready to reimburse her the 5,400 rand they'd irregularly deducted from her pension, plus 761 rand accrued interest. She declined the offer, stating it wasn't enough compensation for the financial setback her family had endured. On the 29th of May 2020, we requested an on-camera interview with One Life. They declined, stating via email that One Life are happy to provide a written statement. We put this list of questions to them regarding Mrs. Mfana's funeral policy plan. In their response to Checkpoint, they stated that after recently being contacted by Mrs. Mfana's daughter, we immediately conducted a full investigation into the matter and found that Mrs. Mfana was a victim of fraud by an independent broker. One Life has a zero-tolerance approach to fraud, and the broker agent who sold Mrs. Mfana the policy is no longer permitted to sell One Life policies. The agent also no longer works for the broker concerned. We initiated an investigation to review all this agent's business, where it was found that a further number of policies were fraudulently issued. All these policies have been cancelled and refunds issued. We contacted Prosperity Funeral Advisors for more answers. They are the intermediary that allegedly signed Mrs. Mfana up. They too declined to grant us an on-camera interview. In this email response, they blamed the marketing company they employed to sell One Life insurance on their behalf. The email reads, Gunners Marketing employed and supervised the agent in question. All complaints received are dealt with swiftly according to certain guidelines. On receipt of the complaint, we acted swiftly and sent Freddie, the manager of Gunners, to visit the client. We tracked Freddie Selamulela down. He is the employer of the sales agent who, according to One Life, fraudulently sold the cover to Mrs. Mfana. A defensive Selamulela denied any knowledge of Mfana's complaint. This despite Checkpoint having been reliably informed that he is aware of the matter.
I'm giving you my answers. You want to put words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth.
That line. Listen to what I'm saying. Take my words. You ask me a question, I'm answering you. I'm not responsible for signing the client. The agent is responsible for
That's
signing
correct,
the client.
but you should be able to verify the information that's on the application form. Because this is your company.
No.
How come you are not aware that the fraudulent activity in your company was done?
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not dealing with that agent only.
After a near 4-year-long battle to retrieve what had been stolen from her, on the 5th of June this year, Mrs. Mfana reluctantly accepted the 6,161 rand initially offered to her by One Life. She says she wants to put the matter behind her. SASSA told Checkpoint her matter is being investigated and the findings will be communicated directly to Mrs. Mfana. Coming up, thousands of rands in premiums down the drain as another insurer unceremoniously cancels life policies.
The policy will be cancelled due to regulatory adjustments by government, and they can no longer offer the policy that we are on, which is the Cover Grow.
After nearly 50 years in the construction industry, Bruce Kleinschmidt, who lives with his son Jonathan in Ocean View, Durban, retired in 2015. Kleinschmidt says soon after retiring, a friend advised him to buy life cover from Prime Meridian Direct, or PMD, which promised financial stability for his children upon his death. Jonathan is his second youngest son and the holder of Kleinschmidt's power of attorney.
We actually spent maybe a month discussing this, and I went through the paperwork at that stage, the T's and C's, what's on offer, how much it'll cost. Then we went into deciding how it would happen, what we do, why we are taking it out, what are we doing. And at the end of the day, after phoning them, Prime Meridian, and actually saying, listen, what's the catch? There must be a catch. And them saying that there's no catch, this is the way it is. It's a policy, they're selling it, it's a new on the market, whatever the case may be. And I said, well, in that case, we should take it. And I told him, I think it's a good thing.
Kleinschmidt signed up for the Prime Living Cover Grow policy worth 3 million rand at a premium of 999 rand per month.
The reason we chose Prime Meridian was so that my father could leave something behind.
Prime Meridian Direct is an intermediary, also known as a broker, for Constantia, a licensed insurance company. According to this schedule, Kleinschmidt's policy was to grow by 50,000 rand monthly. Just as eager to secure a better future for his family in the event of death or permanent illness, Lachman Naidu also took up the Prime Living Cover Grow with PMD for 5 million rand.
I purchased it 4 years ago through their policy brochures, and there's a form that you fill in that if you want to purchase the policy, and it's on TV, television, and it's on posters in the airports and the shopping malls. And there was also the sales marketing director of PMD, Mr. Brian Haroth, who did approximately 8 live presentations in KZN, in Durban. The premiums never did increase.
He says he bought into the company's sales pitch that they would cover him for life.
Okay, the selling point was the fixed premiums for life. Your premiums do not increase at all. Whatever premium that you choose from this brochure, the premiums are fixed for life.
But on the 25th of February 2020, Kleinschmidt and Naidu learned that their investments was money down the drain. This message, sent to both men by lawyers representing Constantia, states that due to regulatory changes, Constantia Insurance Limited needs to discontinue and cancel your Living Cover Grow policy with effect from 31st March 2020.
I was very confused with this SMS because I had been dealing with PMD for the past 5 years, and all the other policyholders were also dealt with PMD, and we didn't receive any communication from PMD.
And this is what really got me. It literally stated, "Do not be alarmed." That got me on fire. My blood was boiling. I immediately, and it had a number and an email. So I immediately, literally, copied the number and dialed. No answer. It rang. Not a switchboard, nothing. It just rang and rang and rang. I think I phoned 10 times.
The lack of communication from PMD and Constantia didn't help the situation, says Kleinschmidt.
It was about a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, my phone rings. And I pick it up, and I speak to a lady from ARA. This is ARA, ARA Group, Anthony Richards and Associates. She makes the mistake of saying she is phoning from Prime Meridian or Constantia. I immediately lose my mind because I've been trying to get hold of these people for 2 weeks, and now I've got someone phoning me. So I said to her immediately, "What exactly is going on?" And she said to me, "She'll get to that. Can I just confirm my father's details?" Or my details, thinking that's my dad. So I said to her, "Well, it's not. I've got power of attorney. I handle his affairs, but I can give you the info you need. What do you need?" So she said she needs his name, his surname, his ID number, basically exactly what you've just asked me. When was the policy taken? What policy, etc., etc. So I said, fine, and I gave her all the details, and I said, okay, I'm guessing you are now going to offer me the alternative as mentioned in the correspondence, which is a text message. Correspondence sounds like they actually corresponded, which they didn't. So she said, no, she doesn't have the mandate to do that because they haven't received it from Prime.
Next, policyholders win in court.
Pensioner money, not my money, pensioners' money has been stolen by these people.
According to legislation, insurance companies are entitled to amend or cancel a short-term insurance policy by giving 31 days' notice to policyholders. Constantia argues that it was forced to cancel the life policies it was offering because of a change in legislation. The new Insurance Act 18 of 2017 stipulates that insurers may no longer offer both life and non-life insurance under the same license. Under the new law, Constantia Insurance, which used to offer both, decided to hold a non-life or short-term license only. As a result, are no longer licensed to provide life products, which include illness and death benefits. Senior Assistant Ombudsman for Short-Term Insurance, Peter Nguna, says changing the law was necessary.
In the old regime, you would find policies that could be issued by an insurance company that was registered to operate as a short-term insurance company that looked exactly the same as another one that was issued by a company that operated as a long-term insurance company.
According to Nguna, medical aid schemes also complained that insurance companies like PMD were offering the same health-related policies that medical aid schemes were providing.
The medical aid schemes were feeling that the insurance companies were operating in their turf and that needed to be regulated differently.
The change may have made sense to industry players, but its impact has infuriated policyholders. Nguna says his office has received a number of complaints regarding the cancellation of PMD policies in particular. Although the Act became effective on July 1st, 2018, insurance companies were provided with a delayed incremental implementation period of 2 years. This was to allow them some transitional time to abide by the new insurance regulations. Constantia's clients say the company dropped them without proper consultation.
If this policy is not going to be available, I'm going to have to, definitely it's going to impact on me financially. If I have to go back out and get another cover, where the premiums will be at least 3 times the current premium that I'm paying, between 2.5 to 3 times.
I don't feel like I've been scammed. I have been scammed. My father's been scammed. He's a 72-year-old man that was banking on 3 million for his children, and that's gone. And not just is the cover gone, the money that he paid is gone. He lives on an old age pension, hence the reason he lives on my property. Old age pension now is less than, 2,000 rand? How much is an old age pension? He took 1,000 rand of that old age pension to pay for this policy in order to give us money when he dies, and it's gone. Pensioner money, not my money. A pensioner's money has been stolen by these people.
Well, right now, if I pass away, my wife has only got 1 million rand cover. She's only getting 1 million rand. She's 60 years old, and she's going to live another at least maybe 7 to 10 years. She's going to be in trouble because I don't have any more cover besides the one with Momentum. So in other words, 4 million rand short. That is a huge concern for me right now.
There are about 5,500 policyholders who took up the Prime Living Cover Grow and Living Legacy with PMD, underwritten by Constantia. Early this year, Naidu and 73 others sought legal relief from the Pretoria High Court. Last month, the court ruled in their favour, issuing this order, which reads, the purported cancellation by the first respondent, meaning Constantia, of its Prime Living Cover Grow and Prime Living Legacy insurance policies held by the 74 applicants is declared to be unlawful and of no force and effect. And that the Prime Living Cover Grow and Prime Living Legacy insurance policies held by the 74 applicants are declared to be extant, in other words, still in existence. The judge ruled that Constantia failed to prove to the court that cancelling the life policies was the only option it was left with. In this email response, Constantia says, we have studied the judgment together with our legal representatives and taken direction from the Prudential Authority. We are in the process of implementing the order to give effect to the judgment and will be distributing email communications to all policyholders in the next 7 to 10 days.
My father is now 72, if I've got my bearings correct, 72. And no insurance company on the planet would be able to give him any kind of cover. If you wanted cover, buy an umbrella. It's safer than PMD or Constantia.